Okay, let's turn on. Okay, as the header states, today I'm going to try a deep sky lucky imaging session. It's very windy here today, 10 to 15 mile an hour with gusts up to 20. And one of the things that I can't do with the C14 is when the winds get this high, the dew shield gets caught in the wind. And it's almost impossible to do anything. So what I'm going to do is try a Deep Sky Lucky imaging session in SharpCap because the live stacker can reject bad frames. So if I get the exposure right, if I catch a gust, it should reject that frame and not destroy the stack. So here we go. Well, I'm going to start another session over here, and we will see what we can see. Oh, I need to be on that machine. Shoot. Okay, we'll try that like so. Let's see if I can do this. Pardon the interruption. OBS, we're going to make it a small stream. And I want to be able to see the chat. So let's see what we can do here. All right, so let me get this going on this machine because I don't care about that. So on this one, I'm going to use my name and pick up. Come on, you can do it. Yeah, okay, so now I can see the chat. Sorry about the feedback loop. So this is working. I am streaming to YouTube and Live Sky, so this is cool. Life is good as it should be. So I'm going to start the live stack. I'm at 4 seconds. I could probably go a little lower, but I want to try 4 first. But before we do that, let's try we're going to do a plate solve by double clicking, so you can see that it's plate solving is in progress. It's capturing a frame. It may not like the fact that I have so few. Yeah, it failed. So let's just do this. The exposures are short enough. I gotta up the speed on this a little. There we go. Okay, one more click down. That should be maybe one more. Okay, so let's start the guider. I don't know how well the guide is going to happen today, but we're going to do it. We'll connect all. It's not a lot of stars there. Normally I do 1 second integrations, but because it's so windy, I'm going to just try 2 and see what happens. Or I'm sorry, 1.5 and see what happens. But you'll see the targets are going to go all over the place because of the wind. But this should help a little bit. As long as it doesn't bark at me, we're good. Okay, so let's go to Live Stack. I want to save the stack, save all. Okay, so I'm aligning the frames. I think I will use an FWHM filter, and I also have a brightness filter because there are some contrails that might blow through this. And what I want to show first is this camera is at a bit depth of 10.3. So it probably started out at 10.2 maybe. And the reason for that is I'm at max gain. I'm at max bit depth, which is 14, but I'm also at max gain. The reason I'm at max gain is because this is the spot where this camera's read noise is the lowest. So at 4 seconds, we should be pretty good here. Now I do have a flat and a dark loaded. And I will go to the histogram, and right now we're buried. You can see over here, it's still a little bit where this is located is very close to well, I'll show you where it is. Let me back off here. So there's Polaris. The sun is set over here, and you can see that there's still some sunlight, and that's what we're kind of dipping down into. We're going this way. But this is not a bad shot for what it is. Not bad. Now, what you can see is I'm using the stock or default settings for the alignment. The stacker is doing a Sigma clip, and it's using the first 5 frames to establish the stack. And then after that, it will start rejecting frames. So if a satellite or a plane flies through in these first 5 frames, it would be best to restart the stack. I'm not using any enhancements. I am guiding with dither, and I'm guiding every 5 minutes. And this is my FWHM. And this is my filter brightness, and when the moon comes up, this will start climbing. And then, of course, the drift graph, and you can see that we have some wind. Normally, that's right on the line. But that's okay, because with a line, as long as the stars aren't blurred, it will take and stack them, and I might get like a bad edge, but who cares? Now this scope is a C14 at f11, and to be able to get 4-second shots with the C14 at f11, it's pretty good, I think. What the heck? Now it's doing a dither. Now I know that I could be using excuse me, Mellencamp Sky for this, but what I would not get is the ability to reject frames in the stack. I could save the individual frames out, which I am doing here. In fact, I want to make sure that I am getting them. Raw frames, there they are. Perfect. So one thing I didn't do was type in a name for this. So when this is done, we'll take care of that. So with this much wind and a stacker that doesn't reject, it would stack any streaks I have, which, you know, could stop and start again. But I wouldn't be able to do the deep sky lucky imaging type work in Mellencamp Sky, because I'm going to get it in 30 minutes, which is all I'll take. I could probably take this to 15 minutes because it's just stars. But when you start doing deep sky stuff, you want to be able to get a lot of frames to build up any faint details that you might have. Now I used Nina. You can see all the programs that I'm using here because I'm not located near the scope. The scope is out in the driveway about 180 feet away, and there's no way I'm going to be focusing or moving the scope. So I take software that can help me, like Nina, and I'll use the framing wizard to slew and center. Then I'll figure out what the camera rotation is, and if I need to move the target a little bit, I can do that. And then I can do an autofocus. And as long as I get a good hyperbolic R squared number like this on my last run, I'm going to take it and run with it. And it doesn't take long. It takes 2 minutes and 25 seconds to do an autofocus. It takes maybe another 2 or 3 minutes to slew and center on your target. And then I'm done. I jump into SharpCap, and I'm not happy with the way things are moving. I can take and use the aids that I have here. The only thing I haven't got SharpCap doing yet, and that's a me thing, is the autofocus. And that, for some reason, SharpCap does this really long, convoluted routine to figure out what your focus motor and optics are doing, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it really takes a long time, and time has been very short this year. Now the longer, I've got 90, almost 100 frames, about 6 minutes of data. And you can see that as I start zooming in here, these faint stars are starting to fill in. Let's see here. Now I do have smoke, and you can see that it's pushing things red on me. Might be a little too blue, but that's okay. Now, these do not affect the histogram, and the color adjustments do not affect the stack, saved stack. It just affects the window that you're looking at. Oh, man, it was freaking hot here today. Oops, what happened? Ooh, interesting. So that's 7 minutes of data. And you can see that there, if I go into the guider, you can see that, I mean, I've got points way out here, and that's from Gus. And my total for guiding is not that good today. This rig normally gets 0.5 to 0.7 with no wind, which for such a big rig is pretty good. I don't have my balance the best, so it's got to work a little harder at certain areas of the sky that have the counterweights in the wrong spot. But normally with this no wind, I'm within 1 degree on the, I'm not way out 2 degrees, 3 degrees, 4 degrees. It's just a tough night for guiding. But the stack is not having any issue with it. And as this goes, I got 135, 9 minutes. It's not rejected any frames just yet. It did reject these. So I'm thinking a cloud or a contra went through. Hey Rusty, how you doing? How you feeling? I'm broadcasting to Live Skies and to my YouTube channel at the same time. And so far it seems to be working quite well. So if I get lost and I miss something, that's because I'm checking the YouTube stream and the Live Skies stream. Good, good. So I am doing a deep sky lucky imaging session. I have a lot of wind today, and if you look at my guiding, you can see that it's getting pushed around pretty good. And my total RMA number is really high for this scope. Normally it's between 0.5 and maybe 0.7, so it's almost double. And that's because I have 15 to 20 mile an hour gusts. So I thought normally I wouldn't even take the scope out, but what I wanted to do is a live stack, a deep sky lucky imaging live stack, and see what happens. Because I'm guiding, and I'm also rejecting. And when I'm also at max gain, for this camera is 15,000, and very short exposures for f11. So as you can see, looking at these stars, they are starting to fill in nicely. And the one nice thing about deep sky lucky imaging is that it's when you get the exposure right, it's going to take those photons that would be coming in randomly on these fainter stars, and it will still build them out. It just takes a little longer because the exposures are so short. And in theory, what will happen is I wind up with a sharper image. So I'm aligning, I'm stacking with sigma clipping rejection. I don't have any enhancements. I'm dithering, which you need to lose the walking noise. And I'm also doing an FWHM rejection and a filter, a brightness filter rejection, because I've got a lot of contrails today. And as you can see, I don't have any satellites, I don't have any planes, I don't have any clouds, and this is starting to fill in nice. So what I want to do is, when this is done, I'm going to take it out to about 15 minutes. That will get me about 200 frames. I will then stop this, and I want to try something like M16 before it disappears. That's going to be right here, I think. Yep. So I got to watch out for these trees. So I got just a few more minutes, and then I'll be moving to M16. My filter brightness is set for auto, I believe, right here. And you have to make sure it's checked here for... So these are all of the items that I have checked. And you can see that I'm saving the raw data. The view is the stacked view. And then when I'm done with the stack, I'll just pick I don't want to do it just yet. I'll do an auto save on clear or close. And we'll see what happens. I really do like, I know Rocket has a problem with it, but SharpCap has got so many neat tools. I mean, you couldn't do this in Mellencamp Sky, what we're doing here. I mean, I would have so many streaks in the stars in a stack that you'd be throwing it out. So when this stack started, again, it's a 14-bit camera. But because I'm max gain and high contrast gain, at those settings, my bit depth is very low. It's like 10.2, and you can already see that I'm above what the camera is capable of doing. And a lot of that is because of the frame count. And you can see that the stars, those fainter stars, are all starting to pop in. And if I let this go for like 500 frames, it would just keep filling in. I mean, this is M13, by the way, if you didn't know. And you can see the X. I mean, it's gorgeous. Yeah. Well, I'm going low right now. I'm because I'm looking west. So this is setting, and it's going to fall deeper into my light pollution. I got 2 more minutes here. But this, if I let this go, one of my stacks, I went out to like 1,000 frames just to see what it would do, and it was almost 18, bit depth of 18, and that's the strength of deep sky lucky imaging. You have so many short frames that those things are coming in, and they're building up the data, and they're expanding the dynamic range. Because this is a 32-bit file, what we're looking at. Or a 32-bit data, I should say. I have a lot of smoke too, which isn't cool. Yeah, my cameras don't work well with Mellencamp Sky. It's, you know, the DS 2.3 does very well with solar stuff. But my DS24 and my DS62 do not like, I just think it's too many pixels for the software. And I mean, I'm rebooting the damn thing twice a night if I have to use it. This is one of my better M13s. Up to 14 minutes, so a little more to go. You can see that even with all that gain, There's not a lot of noise in there. In fact, after about 100 frames, most of the noise is gone. And that's when you're at max gain in the read noise is like 0.6, I think, or 0.7 for this camera. You're not swapping the sensor with electronic noise and these faint photons. You can grab them with shorter exposures. Yeah. I have to say that I have yet to see SharpCap crash, and I'm not easy on it. Okay, last frame coming up. We'll call this M13. And yeah, look at that, it will do it. That's not a bad looking M13. So now I'm going to save the raw stack, and it will pick up my name, and I will stop the stack. And this is what it looks like with one frame coming in. Doesn't look too good. So now what I want to do is go to the eagle before we lose it. So I'm going to stop the camera. I'm going to go to Nina. I'm going to start the camera. I don't need to cool the camera. I'm going to go to the framer, and I'm going to pick up the data from Nina, or I'm sorry, from Stellarium. I'm going to slew and center. Shouldn't have to go too far. And you can see right here, it's telling you what it's doing. It's slewing. Hey, Rusty, good to see you again. Okay, so it's a little off, so it's going to re-slew to the target to center it. And we're just going to check the camera rotation here. Well, that's nice. And we'll try an autofocus and see what happens. This is getting me close enough, so I gotta stop this guy. Forgot to stop it. My bad. Alrighty, so the next deep sky lucky imaging target is going to be M16. And again, I have 15 to 20 mile an hour winds, which usually blow the C-14 around pretty badly, so much so that I normally don't go out. And I had the bright idea to see if I could make deep sky lucky imaging work. Now I won't get very good graphs today because of uh, the guider will not know, or I'm sorry, not the guider, but the autofocus isn't going to know that it's windy. And that's probably what happened here. But that's okay. I'm at 0.95. That's plenty good enough. It has a couple more points to get. And it should put one. Okay, let's take a peek. That looks good. Now we're going to stop the camera. Go back into SharpCap. Start the camera. And that is looking pretty, let me make it 6 seconds. That might be good. Let's just try this. So this is M16. M16. Save all. Yeah, we'll let this go. And you could 9.6 is the bit depth right now. It's already up to 10 with 4 frames. So what is the FWHM number? Not bad for a 4-second frame. I think what I'm going to do is clear this and just get it up a little bit. Where are you? I just want to see the I think he's right here. Yeah, okay. So we need to go up one more. That should work. Now we'll start the guider. And let's go into live stacking. We'll clear this. Yeah, that'll work. Hey Frank, long time no see. So I'm doing, I have a lot of wind, Frank, and this is the C14 at F11. So I'm running in SharpCap a deep sky lucky imaging run where I can reject on FWHM, planes, sats, clouds, and I can dither. And so far, oh, I need to lower my exposure. Or do I want to stay at 6? Let's see what happens. Let's stay at 6 and see what happens. So I'm getting this Mr. Eagle in 6 seconds, and what will happen is, in fact, I'll restart this. Okay, so the bit depth of the camera is 10.2 at max gain, high contrast gain. And the reason why you want to be at max gain with these newer CMOS sensors is that's where the lowest read noise is. And because the read noise is under, in this case, it's like 0.7-ish, what this will do is allow these fainter photons to come in and build instead of the noise. Even though I'm at max gain, it will clear out very quickly. And so far, you can see that this is 2 degrees of motion. So you can see that the wind is blowing the scope by over 2 degrees, which is pretty big. And it shows in the total RMS number. Normally for me, I'm at 0.5 to 0.7 with the scope, depending on where I'm pointed. And this is doing pretty good. I now have the ability to use this big scope on windier days. And live stack. I'll take that any day of the week. Now, as more frames build up, and it will start to, I'll have more data to play with because the histogram starts to tighten up. And while it's tightening up, I get a little more space to do things. Let me play with the colors a little bit because I'm in a new part of the sky. Now this does not affect the data. It just affects the image that we're looking at. So we can already see the horn. Let me move in a little here. You can already see the horn right there. And all these little stars will slowly build up over time, and those are those faint photons that the short exposure, it just takes a longer time to get those because the exposure is so short. Now, key to our success here is there's a little, I think it's right in here somewhere, there's a little nodule or whatever you want to call it that as it's very small and very faint. And when you start to resolve that, you're doing real good. And that will probably take 200 frames for it to start to appear. But we only have 3 minutes of data in here. Hey, Astro. But to be able to resolve the horn with 3 minutes and 18 seconds worth of data is pretty good. And 33 frames at f11. In fact, I think this is the little nodule right here. It's starting to come in. The longer this goes, the longer the stack goes, the more detail will slowly start to build into this. You can see now that it's pausing the live stack to do a dither, and while it's dithering, it will start to build up frames that it's going to ignore. I'm very happy with this. I mean, I can't believe how windy it is, and look at these stars. I mean, I've got way out here, that's about 4 degrees of the scope getting pushed around, and it's not showing up in the stars. This is really nice. And the other thing is, what do you see right here? And what do you see here? And what do you see here and here? Color. Color in the stars. I'll take that any day of the week. All this stuff is going to start filling in nice here. There's only 44 frames, 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes of data. This is pretty good for a 6-second shot. And the reason why I wanted to try this, for those that missed it, is when it's this windy out, I normally couldn't use the scope. To do a live stacking session. And now it looks like I can. So there was one bad frame that it didn't take. It didn't take that one there, or this one. Oh, excuse me. Now I think Mr. Moon is probably going to start coming up here. That's the sun. Where's the moon? There it is, right there. So is that behind the tree? It's not quite coming up yet. And Mr. Eagle is about to dip into a tree here. So I'm going to attempt to do it this tree. All our trees have gotten huge this year because of all the carbon in the air from the fires. I mean, I swear to God, one of the trees we had got so heavy from leaves that I lost been losing limbs like crazy because they're just growing so fast. The trials and tribulations of forest fires. Trees like it. So this is where most of the data is, and when you see these little spikies out here, those are your stars. It's not noise, it's these, all these. And you can already see that a lot of the fainter stars are starting to fill in now. Which is pretty cool. I just want to make sure that I get this one guy right in here. But I got the horn. This is like awesome. 7 minutes of data and I got the horn already. It's amazing. And look at how round those stars are. So out of those 74 frames that we've seen, it's not taken 7 because of the dithers. Normally it takes, let's see, 6 frames. It's probably between 2 and 3 a dither. And I'll just run through these settings for you. This is your statistics. We're already over what this camera is capable of doing for bit depth. It's a 14-bit camera. When the stack first started, it was at 9. It gives you pixel values, which are pretty good. Total exposure, then this is your histogram. You got a mid slider, your color adjust. These are your alignment. I just leave it stock. These are default settings. Stacking is sigma clipping. This initial frame count it needs the first 5 frames to get the stack going. If a plane set or a cloud flies through in those first 5 frames, it gets stuck in the stack. So your options are to let it go or to stop and restart the stack. I like to stop and restart. You have enhancements, but I don't do them. I am guiding and I'm automatically dithering. So SharpCap is controlling the guider to do the dithers. I am on I am rejecting, and anything above this 8.72 it will reject. I have a brightness filter turned on. Now these could be contrails. It's very muggy today. And then my drift log. I'm not putting too much faith into this because I have so much wind, and this just lets you know how much wind I really have. And these little clumps are where the dither went. So it does a dither and then it builds up a history, and then it does another dither, and it builds up history again. So we've got not even 10 minutes in the stack. This is like pretty damn cool. And one of the nice things, what a mid slider is to Mellencamp Sky is gamma. And what I'll show you is when you move the black point, the mid slider moves with the black point. In Mellencamp Sky, it doesn't do that. So you would be continually adjusting the gamma. And in this particular case, the mid slider is being used to stretch the data. So normally if I just reset this, oops. This would be the value. So you have, what you're looking at is a linear image. And you would now use the mids to pull your data up. So you're stretching the data. And that's all this data right here. So by bringing the mids up closer to it, you can see what you have. I can't believe how sharp these stars are. I'm going to say that all night. I mean, look at how round they are, and I'm telling you, I got wind. Big wind. And it's showing in the graph. Huh. I think it's either this or this. Just need a little more data to hit because it's that faint. And you could just start to see the rays. If you ever looked at a Hubble shot, that's definitely the horn. Now the blockies that you may be seeing in the image here is mainly because I'm almost maxing out my network. I'm doing a YouTube stream and a Mellencamp Sky stream. The reason why I want to do that is the YouTube will save the stream for me, and that way I'm building up a database of live stuff on my YouTube channel. And I've been working on this for the last couple of weeks. And I'm trying to find the happy medium of just enough bandwidth that everything looks good and YouTube likes along with live skies. And I think I might have hit on something, but you never know till you know. So we're zoomed in at 61%. So let's see what 100. That's 100%. There's that horn. I can't believe we got it in 12 minutes, 13 minutes of 6-second shots at f11. Now I have saturated stars, but if we look at these stars, you'll see that there's blue and red around it. So I have a little aberration, and that's probably a little bit of the wind going on here. Plus I'm looking through a lot of atmosphere, a lot, and I can show you that. So I'm not that far from being in the tree, but this is this is the horizon, and I'm 10 degrees up, maybe. What's it say? 14? No. Where are you? Altitude. 28 degrees? That doesn't look like. 16 might be better. Got too much going on there. So with 143, that's about 14 and a half minutes. This one I think I'm going to go for a half hour. And then it will probably be too close to the tree. This is still pretty good though, all things considered. Mr. Eagle. Now when you run max gain, you need to make sure that you have your black level or offset set correctly. It's going to be very important that you don't clip the blacks. And I did a video on how to do that. Because as you start raising the gain, the histogram moves to the left. And the black point or offset moves it back to the right. And because we're looking for faint photons, you do not want to clip them. I wonder if, well, probably not. I might break the stack. Starting to get some of this detail up in here. Now I have another rig going. That's in the tree. Son of a gun. What was this one doing? Ah, okay, so that one's done. We'll kill it. Let's see if that's probably in the tree. There's the soul, I think, or the heart. So that's coming up. That's coming up. Where is... let's see if we can find the cocoon. That's the cocoon. Yep. How about them apples? So is that going to go into the tree? No, that should be going up. Elephant trunk, no thanks. That's cedar. That should be out of the tree. Let's try. So now I'm pulling the data into Nina from let's see what we get here. Hopefully no tree. And if we are in the tree, that's how much the stupid thing grew this year. It's also up. Okay, so now it's going to settle the mount and take an exposure, and it will pop it up here when it's debared it, and that's looking pretty good. Just going to move it a little bit. Okay, so we'll just slew and center to make sure that it looks good. Okay. Now let's take this. And we want to go 90, 60, to there, 6, 15 minutes, and boom. It's going to look good. Just going to move it a tickle. Okay, I can deal with that, I think. It's close enough for hand grenades. And horseshoes. So now it's going to do an autofocus. Wow, look at the colors you can see in here already. Hey Astro, what did you lose the stream? You had to go out and come back in? Okay, as soon as this is done, we'll head on back. And you can see this scope is behind a tree. So it's got a natural wind block, and you can see that it guides, this CGX guides like there's no tomorrow. The total error is 0.23. Can't beat that. Yeah, I'll be back over to the other one in a second here. That would be more EAA than this. This rig is pretty much a AP rig. My Raza. When I run two scopes like I am, I usually set one up automated, and the other one I have a little more interaction with. So it has, I believe, one more maybe, 26. .461, it'll be done. And then it'll start grabbing a frame. So just to show you what this Raza does, I mean, this is a 6-second shot. It kind of looks ratty, but that's because it's a 6-second shot. Okay, so I think it's happy here. It's got one more to do. Yep. So this is where the steps were, and this is where it went. So it changed quite a bit. All right, let's leave this one. And we now have 22 minutes, so another 8 minutes and we'll get out of this one. Let's see if that, you can see how it's smoothed out. And there it is, right there. It's starting to come in. So to be able to really resolve this deep sky stuff, I need closer to this. There's 200 and let's just say 200 frames. So I'd have to get closer to 500, I think, to really start resolving it. But still, the stars don't look too bad for as windy as this thing is seeing. I mean, look, we're starting to see this, the streamers. Not bad from some old guy's driveway. And look at how much this filled in. Right up in here. So this, what you're seeing here, Astro, is, even though I'm not using Mellencamp Sky, this is a live stack. And the reason why I'm using SharpCap is because of the wind, I would have nothing but streaky stars because Mellencamp Sky doesn't reject. And that, nothing against Mellencamp Sky, it's just what it is. And I can assure you that I would not have data anywhere near this good. In fact, I can probably show you after this is done. Amazing stuff. And all these fainter stars weren't there when I first started. They've all started to pop in because this is the way Deep Sky Lucky imaging works. All this stuff wasn't there. The other thing Mellencamp Sky doesn't do is dither. And you get walking noise, which I hate. I've never read the site rules for here. So the way I understand it is uh, anybody can come on the site regardless of gear. But pretty much it's just Mellencammers. Like this is a Mellencam. This camera is a Mellencam DS24. The other one is a DS62. And you can see there's the dither line right there. And there's one here. And that would all be cropped out. There's another one here. And if we go and look at the drift graph, these are all dithers. So when you see a clump, it will move the scope on a dither and then it will clump like it is. And what this does for you is you don't get any walking noise. That's a nice shot for as crappy as the weather is. I mean, I have smoke. We're looking through smoke, a lot of atmosphere. Let me just take a peek and see how low this. We got a little room. I mean, we're not too. We aren't too far from being in the danger zone. I mean, this is very low. This stuff never gets that high for me, and you could see that I got very tall trees, like this one. So I only have a little window to actually get the summer stuff. Well, what I did is I used Nina. I picked my target in Stellarium. So when you see this in Stellarium, that tells you that you have a target selected. And then I go into Nina, and I use the framing wizard to bring that data in by selecting this, and it gets the coordinates from the planetarium, and there's the eagle right here. And then I'll slew and center using Nina. I will determine the angle of the camera in Nina. Then I will jump over and do an autofocus in Nina. And then I'm done. Then I'll go into SharpCap and just make sure that my framing is the way I want it. And then I start stacking. So right now, what is controlling the scope is PhD because it's guiding. So we got a couple more minutes here. It's just starting to fill in. But this fuzzy stuff on the tip are those streamers. Huh. Like this stuff down in here is just starting to build. And what this needs is just more time on target. So like an hour's worth of data. And at 6 seconds, you're getting 10 frames a second, or I'm sorry, 10 frames a minute. So that's 600 frames an hour. Not bad. Still amazed at how nice and round the stars are. Like I said, I would normally, when it's not windy, I'm usually at 1 second. But because it's windy, it's blowing the scope around a little bit. In fact, the dew shield is right into the wind, so it can't get much worse than that. Now I am not anywhere near. In fact, I will show you in a second here. We want this, and we want this. Oops. I gotta get the number 1. See what the what? Alrighty. So these are my scopes. The ROS is here, and the C14 is right here, even though it's a little blocky. A lot of that is because my network is so jammed up right now. But I'm about 180 feet from the gear. Yes, you are correct. In fact, for a dither to work with PhD, your capture software has to be able to send the dither command. That's something that on its own PhD can't do. I hope that helped. Okay, we are at 30 minutes. And it's just starting to come in. Right there. Which it's in 30 minutes. That's not bad, actually, for as low as we are in the atmosphere and as bright as my skies are, because the moon is now up, and the smoke, to be able to even resolve this is pretty good. The same with the stringers up here, the streamers. So I'm going to save this. I'll pause the stack. I will save this. And I will clear the stack. And what we're going to do now is I'll show you what I do, Astro. So let's go, there's Vega. We could go to M57 or M27, so I'm going to pick M27. Mainly because I'm a glutton for punishment. So now that the target is selected, I jump over to SharpCap and stop the camera. And this, by the way, is what one frame looks like of a deep sky lucky imaging run. There's not much to look at, but the stack was pretty good looking, the way I see it. So I'm going to stop the camera. Then I'm going to jump into Nina. I'm going to start the camera, and I don't need to cool it. Now I'm going to go to the framer, and I'm going to pull in the data from Stellarium. And there's the dumbbell. So now I can slew and center on the dumbbell because I'm connected to the mount. And you can see down here it says slewing. I don't know why it's, oh, now, that's what it says. Duh. So now it's settling the mount and it's taking an image now. And the image will pop up here. There it is. And it says that this telescope is not inside tolerances. It's sunk the scope. And it's going to re-slew and then take another image. So it's settling. Now it's taken an image, and when everything disappears down here, it is done. So I will just check to make sure that the camera is not doing something funky with it. It isn't. Excellent. So now I'm going to jump in and do an autofocus. Because it's been about a half hour. And you can see the stars are out around. Or not out around, but they're very big. Now they're starting to tighten up, and that's another point's been added. And they're getting tighter, and another point's been added. So it's just about at the bottom, I think. Might be doing one more. And now they're going back up again, getting bigger. So what you're seeing here is the inner crop and the outer crop. So all stars outside of this and in the center are not being used to autofocus. So the autofocus is done. And I will stop the camera. I'll jump into SharpCap. Start the camera. And I don't think I need, we'll try 4 seconds and see what we get here. That looks good. So what we will do is M27. Oops. And what the heck? Must have caught a gust of wind. And of course, I forgot to shut down the guider. Alrighty. See if it, why did the focus go to hell? I might have got out a little too soon. So now I'm doing a normal focus because apparently I didn't let it settle. In fact, let me look and see, where is it? Oh, you know what happened? I closed Nina. That's what happened. Okay. Okay, so where are the focuses? Getting there. Almost there. I think I went too far. Maybe not. I'm looking at these 3 stars in here to see if I can resolve them. Getting there. Let's see what that's pretty good actually. One more maybe. These are looking good. But I think the 3 are right here. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Let's go into the live stack now. And you can see that we're at 8 for the bit depth. So it's going to grab 5 of those frames before we see the stack. So let me go get the histogram. Let's take this down. So there they are, the 3 stars. And you can see that my skies are getting a little worse because of the moon. So I'm going to have to raise this up a little bit, I think. We'll start again. Okay, so let's start. So did you follow all that, Esther? I kind of zipped through it pretty quick there. And the you can see my skies aren't that good. Let me check astrospheric for smoke. Yeah, where we're looking into this little lighter blue area. So if we go back and just pick the cloud layer, or smoke layer, I should say, you get, we're in this, and we got some of this coming. But there's a lot of smoke up there. It's been this way since April. Brutal. think I'm going to try. Six seconds because we're got some extra noise in here. Oops. Dropped the mic. Wind must be dying down a little bit. Still blowing. Yeah, that's going to work, I think. We'll let it build up a little bit. I just want to see what the other guy's looking like. Uh-oh, Meridian flip. Make sure it does it. And it kind of looks like it's done it. Okay, life is good. I'm just going to drag this over here for now. Those are the 3 stars. When you can resolve these 3 stars, you're doing real good. There are the lobes. So they'll slowly start to fill in here. You can tell the moon is starting to play havoc on things. I must have some thicker smoke than what they are seeing for it to be jumping around this bad. So you are witnessing a test, a successful test today there, Astro. Because there's no way, under normal conditions, I would never have taken this scope out, ever, in the wind that I have. You can see that the lobes are starting to fill in. Now I don't have a very high contrast filter in here. I basically have an L Pro, I think it is, an Optolong L Pro. So I'm not really in optimal conditions, but because the exposures are so short, I should be good. Look at the detail in here already. Jeez, up in here. That's with 3 minutes. All right. I'm not sure. It got it. It got it. Okay. Let's see what it looks like. I'm talking about the other. Oh, you sucker here. Why aren't you coming? Oh, I know why. Sorry about that. So here's the other. It's done the meridian flip. It's done a new autofocus. It's slewed and centered. And now it is exposing. And these are the stars, the HFR, I should say. And they're upside down because it's flipped the image because of the meridian flip, so that it will look the same. And I just want to see what it looks like with the once it comes in. I'm gonna like this. I'm gonna like it a lot. Almost wondering if I shouldn't have gone a little bit longer, but we'll deal with it. You can see the yeah, this is gonna look pretty good, I think. There's the 3. The lobes are starting to fill in. Look at all these stars starting to pop in. That's what I like about deep sky lucky imaging, is that the image, it's almost like it's being painted. I mean, this is a C14 at f11. 6-second shots. This is the moon. Try and keep some of that glow down. There's the lobe. It's filling in nice. Six, 7 minutes of data. Ooh. Yeah, that's, the moon is doing this. It's illuminating the smoke. But still, it's not bad for what it is. And just looking at the guider again, you can see that the wind is dying down, which is helping the cause, because I'm now under 1. So it is probably right around 10 mile an hour to see the scope. moving this much still, so it's still moving 2 degrees, but you can kind of tell the direction of the wind by looking at the target plots and the guide. Oh, wow, 0.87, it's going down fast now. Now, SharpCap, I'm sorry, I misread this. SharpCap sends a dither command to PhD2, not to Nina. And if I was using Nina, like I am on the other rig, Nina is sending the dither command to PhD2. So the software that is doing the capturing is what needs to send the dither commands, because it has to stop the captures. Where SharpCap is doing it a little different in the live stack mode, it just keeps cranking out frames, but it pauses the stack. So even though those frames are coming in, you can see here it's not using them. I hope that helped. Oops. I lost them. So we'll just stop this. And we will go to the Looking Up channel. See Astro. Well, I think I'm going to call it. It's my little test, I believe, has worked. I just wish I had better skies between the smoke and the moon. I am getting hammered by the smoke. So, I mean, I'm surprised it's coming in as well as it has. So I'm going to stop now, because as the moon gets higher, it just gets harder and harder to do anything. So clear skies, everyone, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.